Aye.
Here.
Mr. Whalen?
Here.
Ms. Phillips?
Here.
Council President Reparo is absent.
Okay.
We have a quorum, Madam President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and join us in the salute to the flag being started from our Hamilton Revolution with us tonight.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing.
May we please bow our heads in prayer? Dear God, let us pray for our U.S. servicemen and women serving throughout the world, defending our freedoms. Especially on this day, 80 years ago, we remember the 2,400 Americans that died in service to our country at Pearl Harbor. With the holiday season upon us, may we seek to give rather than receive, being ever mindful of those who go without. And as always, may we as township representatives serve the community with dedication and equity for all. We make all of these intentions in your name, dear Lord. Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Madam Clerk, please proceed with the agenda.
Under minutes for the council's consideration, we have the October 19th, 2021 regular meeting, as well as the November 8th, 2021 regular meeting minutes for your approval.
Any questions or comments on the minutes?
No. Council President, I make a motion to move both minutes, the October 19th, 2021 and the November 8th, 2021.
Thank you, Council.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Under Communications, Communications 1 is a commendation for the 8 and under Hamilton Revolution PAL Pop Warner football team. The commendation will be read by Councilmember Whalen.
I don't know if you can you hear me standing up? Good. Well, first off, I'm proud to read this resolution tonight. As you boys and I'm sure your parents and coaches are honored and also congratulate you on your success that you've had this fall with your campaign. I mean, this is pretty big here in Hamilton, right? First team ever to win a state championship at the 8U under. Matter of fact, I think it's the first team to win a state championship out of Hamilton. So congratulations. Being a former football guy myself, I'm excited for you guys and excited to read the proclamation. So it's a resolution on commendation to 8 under Hamilton Revolution PAL Pop Warner football team. Whereas the members of the 8U Hamilton Revolution PAL Pop Warner football team have made history for Hamilton Township, being crowned 8U New Jersey State champions after defeating the Southeast Stallions 26-0 in the first round of the regional playoffs. And whereas the week prior they won the Central Jersey 8U championship over Somerville with a score of 26-20 to advance to the quarterfinal regional playoffs. And whereas this has been an exciting, hard-fought, and successful football season, and we are proud of the record that you have earned, and therefore be it resolved by the Mayor, Jeffrey S. Martin, and the Council of the Township of Hamilton in the County of Mercer and the State of New Jersey, that the resolution of commendation be hereby adopted honoring the coaches, head coach Jaworski, assistant coach Gargione, hope I don't mess up your name, assistant coach Biasi, assistant coach Jaworski, assistant coach Bishop, assistant coach DiMartino, and assistant coach Hutchins. I'd like to announce the players. Matter of fact, should we have them come on up and line up when we call them up?
Absolutely.
Why don't we do that? Okay. Braden Hutchins. Mike Biasi. AJ Jaworski. Jackson Bishop. You just could line up
Yeah, you
around
can
right around the front here like this, guys, so everybody can see you. Jordan Tucker. Jake Little. Thomas Hagan. Dan Lobionda. Ray Cavett. Caden Perry. Mike Gargione. Mary Covington. Shane Bresnan. Vincent DiMartino. Braden Rumyan. Luke Lobiano. Terrible Irish. Jake Shaw. And Matteo Pandolfini. Huh? Oh, we didn't, I'm sorry. Right, Daniel. Why don't you just turn around to the audience so they can see us? Turn around. All right. Yeah.
They're in alphabetical order for the most part.
Always get enough of the order. It is correct. When this work is one
Good effort.
There you go, congratulations.
Their names are on Cannabis Cultivator.
Okay, Luke?
Then you skip to
Congratulations. Yeah. He was the only one?
Right, as it's stated right here. Yep, okay.
Quarterback. Yeah? Congratulations.
Congratulations.
They're definitely going to double.
Guys, let's all get down here in 2 rows. Guys, come down there, come down. Hey, guys in the back, shorter guys in the front, less big. Future big guys. Future NFL stars
All of us over here. Ready? Cheese. All right, no cheese. Okay.
Is that part of your training?
We are, we're doing something else. Oh, there you go.
Quite welcome. Congratulations.
Can you sing or not? What? You sing or not? Please let it go. Tell me that, go.
You what?
You want to say no? Madam President.
That's what I'm about to do.
Madam President.
Yeah.
Motion to recess for a moment to allow the team to vacate
Yeah,
the premises.
I was just about to say,
Well, wait.
we
you
love
guys
having you, but we
But
would
you guys
like
don't want to
to.
stay for the whole meeting?
Yeah. We wish you a very good night and
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's tomorrow night's meeting.
Congratulations.
That's awesome. We gotta get down to 3-point Sam.
What's your,
Yeah. That's cute.
what's your,
Hey, maybe this will
What
inspire
proclamation should I have?
some for public service.
Yeah.
what is it? What statute?
Don't start.
Oh,
Was it just this?
Okay. Okay.
I can't get the agenda. Look, this is what I'm getting.
Did you stick stuff in my? Oh,
There's
this is
nobody
all-
left.
Are you logged into, what are you logged in?
Oh, wow. Wayne D'Angelo. Wow. That's it. Got.
I want this one.
We're supposed to do it this way. You put it in a frame. Wasn't worth the paper.
Another invite?
No, congratulations. I'll tell them tomorrow.
Oh, we have to discuss what you guys want to do, or, you know, we can make it short and sweet.
Short and sweet.
We'll just give them another moment.
What are we supposed to be using?
Feel free to move up.
What internet are we supposed to be using? Allison? Zach? I was trying to connect to my phone and I left my phone out in the
Yeah,
car.
that's the first one there?
This one?
Yep. It looks like you already connected to it.
Well, I connected to, oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was under your networks. I think you've used it before.
You just let him get
The other
started.
one, just check if you can load the community code real quick. Make sure you're all set.
And they can start, then you do the expiration.
Reloading the page.
9-148. 148, yes. Let's go right to first of July next.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue with the agenda. Madam Clerk, if we could proceed.
Certainly. On communications, item 2 is a joint proclamation celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Knights of Columbus, Lodge 7677.
Council President, it gives me great honor to proceed with tonight's proclamation for the Knights of Columbus, Council 7677. As a parishioner of St. Greg's, I know that how active they are in our community here in Hamilton and beyond. And, you know, we appreciate their service to the four principles of their order, which is fraternity, unity, charity, and patriotism. So, and they abide by that and they live that every day of their lives. So your commitment to St. Greg's and the greater population here in Hamilton, Robbinsville, and the amount of service and volunteerism that you do for the community is needed and greatly appreciated. I know we have here with us this evening, Grand Night, John Parigi. I'm just going to read some of the proclamation. I'm going to have you guys come up along with several other officials from the night. So I appreciate you being here this evening. Whereas, since its founding on December 8th, 1980, the St. Gregory the Great Council 7677 Knights of Columbus has been dutifully serving Hamilton, Robbinsville, Trenton, and the other surrounding areas. And whereas members are known and dedicated to service work in collaboration with St. Gregory the Great Church, providing financial assistance to the parish and the academic academy school, along with each other as a fraternal organization. They also regularly donate to local food banks, donate meal baskets for the holidays, and collect items to support local pregnancy support centers. And whereas during the 2020-2021 Columbian year alone, Council 7677 collected over 56,000 pounds of food to provide to local families, distribute winter coats, diapers to women and children in need, and contributed to several local charities, including Make-A-Wish, NJ Autism, Poor Sisters of Clare, Option for Women, and Kelly Braden Service Dog Fund. And whereas we as a township are thankful for community service organizations like the Knights of Columbus and hold them in high esteem for the invaluable services they provide. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Jeffrey S. Martin, Mayor, and the Hamilton Township Council in the County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, do hereby extend our sincerest congratulations to St. Gregory the Great Council 7677 Knights of Columbus, and thank them for their 40 years of service to our community. Thank you again.
Amazing, yeah.
Council President, the next item on the communications is a proclamation for the Women's Space 21st Annual Community of Lights.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I will be reading a resolution of support for communities of light. But before I do begin, I also want to recognize Women's Space. Their actual event was last evening, where we lit luminaries and raised awareness for domestic violence. And just want to appreciate Women's Space. This is their 21st year of holding communities of light. So it's a longstanding tradition and continues to spread beyond the Mercer County area from Women's Space. Whereas it is the policy of Hamilton Township to recognize organizations that have contributed to the overall benefit of the community. And whereas Women's Space, founded in 1977, has demonstrated a unique ability to provide comfort, support services, crisis intervention, and safety to women who are victims of sexual assault and domestic violence. And whereas Women's Space, in the belief that, quote, peace begins at home, unquote, has asked the Mercer County community to join them in their struggle against violence by participating in their annual Communities of Light project. And whereas Women's Space has provided emergency shelter in secure locations and comprehensive services for victims of domestic violence since 1977 and sexual assault since 2002, for more than 89,777 women, 15,279 children, and 6,566 men. Additionally, Women's Space has assisted more than 290,782 callers over the last 44 years. Whereas Hamilton Township commends Women's Space for their efforts to bring an end to the cycle of interpersonal violence imposed on women, children, and men. And whereas, as the Council of the Township of Hamilton, we urge that each and every household demonstrate their support of the concept that peace begins at home by placing luminaries along their driveways and sidewalks on Monday, December 6, 2021, as a visible symbol of that support. And whereas the proceeds from Communities of Light 2021 will be used to fund vital services for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. Now therefore be it resolved by Mayor Jeffrey S. Martin and the Council of Township of Hamilton in the County of Mercer in the state of New Jersey does hereby declare and affirm that December 6, 2021 as Communities of Light Day, and hereby honor Women's Space on its many accomplishments and with them continued success with Communities of Light in the years to come. And that concludes our communications.
I'm sorry, Council
I'm sorry.
President, I do have two other
Oh, I'm sorry,
communications.
you're right.
Communication 4 is the receipt of documentation for ABC liquor license 1103-31072, which is the Yardville Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 491. This is an update to the vendor information as required. And C5 is a receipt of documentation for liquor license 1103-31060, which is Cook Athletic Association, for the update of its officers and their investigation thereof.
Madam Clerk, I move communications C4 and C5.
Would you like to make that for C1 through C5, Councilmember?
Amend that to make that motion for
Surely.
C1 through C5.
Glad to.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Communications passed 4-0. Moving on to resolution. Resolution 1 is 21-448, which is a resolution of the Hamilton Township, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, supporting ZY Labs application to the Cannabis Regulatory Commission for a Class 1 cannabis cultivator and/or a Class 2 manufacturer license.
I'd like to invite if there's anyone from ZY Labs here to speak. They might come to the podium. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, my name is Patrick O'Reilly. I'm an attorney at Chiesa, Sheehaney, and John Tomasi. CSG represents ZY Labs. We represented them on their winning 2019 medical marijuana application for a cultivation permit, and then we're currently representing them now on their application for an adult use manufacturer license. I have with me today Devora, who's the president of ZY Labs, and Scott Stein, who's the director of operations, and they'd like to speak briefly, and then we're available for any questions that you have.
Great, thank you.
Hi, my name is Devora Vashetsky, and I personally wanted to thank you for your support. We're a family operated business, and we are very much excited and looking forward to joining the Hamilton Township family. And I have with me Scott Stein, who's the Director of Operations, who will explain more of what we do.
I'm sorry, Council President. I'm sorry, ma'am, I did not get your name, please.
Sorry, that's Devora Vashetsky.
Can you spell that last name? if you would,
Absolutely. Visheddsky.
And I'm sorry, your first name again.
Devorah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was great seeing all the kids in their football outfits. I used to coach in West Windsor and Plainsboro, the Wildcats, so made me realize it's been 15 years. So I do remember, however, what it feels like to be a parent of young kids, and I'm sure the community might have some concerns about marijuana in general. And I assure you, we've thought about everything. Safety, number one, as far as facilities go, and security. We're certainly excited, actually, to become part of the community. To us, that means in an educational capacity, to work with the schools or the police department and figure out how best to educate the community on cannabis as a therapeutic, as well as soon to be, a drug of recreation and how it can be consumed like alcohol, safely. So we're going to be a very active part in the community in that respect. My owners and founders of the company, you know, they're very philanthropic and very community oriented, and just active. It's just a community family, which is what made me happy to join them. I've been in the cannabis industry for about 8 years now. So from when people first said, wow, is this possible? And I can tell you that in Colorado, if you look at all the statistics, crime is down, DUIs are down. So a lot of the things that people feared in the community never came true. And we're going to hope to educate this community in however they want us to. Our facility will be immaculate, absolutely immaculate. We treat this product like a pharmaceutical product. As far as security goes, we're going to start with deterrence, signage, motion detector type lights. Obviously, we'll have perimeter security, and then we'll have a plan with the local police department should there be an intrusion. So we're going to be very active in prevention in that respect. We're looking to hire purely local people. Nobody has cannabis experience, period. And if people are going to be trained to do something, we believe local people should have local jobs and not waste their lives commuting. So we're really excited about having a pure local employment policy, if possible, and with flexible hours. Because cannabis doesn't care what time of day it is. You know, the functions of farming, when you're indoors, it's light for 18 hours most days and 12 the others. You know, we can have people who can have a life with their family and a work-life balance. And that's what we're excited to share. So thank you.
Sir, could you just state your name again for the record?
Scott Stein, S-T-E-I-N.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Does council have any questions, Mr. Stein?
I just had and this may be a question for all three of you. So what, I know we have 5 before us this evening. You're the one that has the cultivation license already, correct? And you're pursuing the manufacturing license, but you already have the approval for the cultivation license.
Yes.
Excuse me, but I'm not the most educated on this topic. So, one quick question. So, what is the process at the state level, just so you can better educate me? Now, you go, if this is supported this evening, what happens next? And Patrick, maybe you want to handle that one.
Sure. So the regulatory body for the state is the Cannabis Regulatory Commission. They put out a notice in early November that the application period for cultivation, manufacturing, and lab testing licenses, those applications, the period would open on December 15th at 9 a.m. And that's for adult use cannabis. There's currently no open application period right now for medical marijuana. The application, you're allowed to submit your application on December 15th. Once the application is received by the CRC, they'll actually send the town a copy of the application, so you have it. The CRC has 90 days to approve the application. They're able to expand that beyond 90 days, and realistically, I think, December 15th, soon after December 15th, they're going to receive a lot of applications. So realistically, they're likely to expand the application review period. And then once the state has it and they review the application, it's a scoring system. And for the applicants, unlike the medical marijuana applications periods in the past, it's no longer a head-to-head competition between applicants. It's a scoring system, but the state sets a threshold amount, and as long as you get above that threshold amount, you get the appropriate score above that threshold amount, they'll move you to the next step, which is due diligence by the state They'll conduct, well, you have to submit yourself to a background check. There's a financial review, the capabilities of the company. And then after you get through that step, they do a final site visit, and then after that, they'll actually hand you your license, and then you begin to operate. But you're not allowed to operate until they actually hand you your license.
No, you have your permit from the.
Can I say
That's what I
one?
was gonna say. But that's how you will return to Hamilton Township after the state process.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
So when do you identify the location? Is it within the, it's not in the application, is it? The
It
initial
is.
It is?
Yeah,
Okay,
so
okay.
the location for ZY Labs is 57 North Johnston Ave.
Okay. I did notice that, so-
And they're gonna co-locate, the cultivation operation with, knock on wood, the manufacturing if they receive the license. So yeah, so the location would be
Part of
in,
the-
actually, not only the location, we'll list the location, but the resolution, should you pass it tonight, we would include that with the application as well.
You mentioned scoring system with the state. What typically is involved in the scoring?
Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
So it's like an RFP,
Mhm.
where the state laid out for the current manufacturing license, there's 27, they're calling them measures. What's your standard operating procedure for diversion? How are you going to positively impact the community? There's these criteria that you have to speak to. You're allowed a certain amount of space and pages, and they come with a different points system. And then there's the mechanical side of the application, where you submit personal information, background, proof that you're a resident, all those other qualifying aspects.
And this facility or this location, 57 North Johnson Avenue, how big's that facility?
We're going to be occupying 100,000 square feet. Okay, initially, we're going to build out 30,000 feet for the current grow facility. And if we win the award for a license for manufacturing, and you guys allow us to be here, that's going to be 5,000 square feet. And the rest of the space is anticipated growth over the next 5 years. The state is issuing only so many licenses for growing cannabis, and then depending on the demand from the consumers, they're going to either issue more licenses or extend the space that current licenses have. Obviously, if there's a huge demand by the consumers and they need a quicker response, they'll extend licenses. But it's a huge capital improvement and grow facility. Between the air conditioning and the lighting alone, I mean, it's an indoor farm, and you're bringing the sun inside, and then you're cooling it. So you're hoping over time to be able to get economies of scale.
A couple quick questions, and another question. The difference between, I don't want to sound like I'm confused, but the cultivation obviously is the growing of it. What's the manufacturing of it?
Oh, it's really an excellent question. I'm surprised that it hasn't come up yet. So cannabis is a plant, and when you squeeze it or freeze it, or there's different methods to extract the oils of the plant out. Okay, and when you have that oil, it's like a crude oil, just like if you drilled in the ground for oil. And then through amazing chemistry and distillation, you pull components of that oil out. You pull THC out, you pull CBD out, you pull these terpenes out that give the plant its flavor and its odor. And different studies say help affect different therapeutics. So now it's a laboratory, with all these components of the cannabis plant. And then you can combine them in different forms. So you can mix them with a lotion and it's a topical. You can put it in a tincture and put it under your tongue. You can make it into a powder form, and it's a pressed tablet. So that's the manufacturing side.
Okay.
In other states, not New Jersey yet, they would have a kitchen also, and they'd have cookies and brownies and chocolates and stuff.
All right, my last question, promise. ZY Labs, you guys are already established business. Where do you currently operate in a cultivation facility anywhere in New Jersey or in the surrounding states?
So ZY Labs was established before the application 2 years or so ago, right? For this particular application. So it's not necessarily an ongoing concern.
But you're in the cannabis business. Are you operating any other
I'm
facilities?
part of the cannabis business, yes. So I've, in New York, gave out 5 licenses about 7, 8 years ago. I authored one of those, and then it took us 6 months to be operational with 5 dispensaries, a manufacturing facility, and a grow until that business got sold off. And I'm involved in the cannabis business out in Colorado for about 6 years now.
What type of people work there? I mean, you have to be, what type of qualifications do you need I want to get a job there.
I mean,
Okay.
remember, we started out, I said we're going to train because nobody has the skill set yet.
Okay,
On the cultivation side, you're a farmer.
makes sense.
You're planting in pots, you're trimming, you're loving, you're feeding, you're nourishing, you're looking for spider mites and other pesticides. You're just an indoor farmer. And a facility like that requires, all the cleanliness that goes with, a USDA type facility where if we were growing tomatoes, it would be the same exact indoor farm. On the manufacturing side, I mean, it's really chemistry, it's chemists. But usually there are people that, could be working at Starbucks tomorrow or just walked out of Johnson & Johnson's lab. It's a completely eclectic group of people, old, young, learning something new, excited about, it's just exciting.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, a facility like this, and I'm sure the other ones that are going to be presenting are going to be talking about the same thing as far as hiring, putting local people, that are in need of jobs. What about the build out? You go into a facility like this, there's, it's a big operation, right? Heavy mechanical HVAC, electrical, like you said, lighting, general labor work. Is your intention to hire local contractors or local construction workers on a job like this?
Yes. We most likely will have an agreement with the carpenters local. They call it a project agreement. And I mean, it's a massive electrical project.
Carpenters don't do electric, just so you know.
No, I was going to say, I believe the electrical union hall is right down the street, isn't it?
So we'll actually, so ZY will, and we're in the process of working through this now. So the building trades. So we'll likely enter into a project labor agreement with the building trades for the build out.
How many employees when you're at the, I guess the initial step is the 30,000 square feet of space you said? What was it, 30? For the
Yes.
cultivation and then 5 for the manufacturing? How many people initially would you think you're going to on board, and then from there, where do you think you're going to land if it expands?
Our initial staff will probably be somewhere between 30 and 40 people,
Okay.
depending on the mix of full-time and part-time.
Is that the Mill 1 building?
It's next to Cook and Marker.
Yeah, it's a little further. Yeah.
Okay.
It's at the end.
Sure.
I think that's where the supply companies, the Allied Supply, I think.
I'm just glad to see jobs coming to the Bromley neighborhood. We're happy about that.
I mean, we love the neighborhood because we were in the back corner. Nobody's going to know we're there.
Yeah. Low profile for you.
Very low profile, thank you.
Which is good. Yeah.
Mr. Stein, if you could, I know each of you mentioned providing support to the community and education. Could you give us some examples or some plans that you might have to do, like specifically any programs in the community? Especially as far as I'm a teacher myself, and I have concerns just in them understanding, just as they get alcohol education.
Right, exactly.
So how would that work? Have you done it somewhere else? Is there an example you could give us?
So the program that we've been talking about implementing would be where we would come to the local schools, speak to administration, and offer to give a tour of the facility to some key players and explain the science. Okay? I mean, here you have something that kids can giggle about or they see on TV, but we have an indoor farming and we have a chemical lab. Okay? And these are amazing things that, I mean, had I known when I was in high school, I might have gone into chemistry, but I couldn't come up with a real life example that wasn't too far-fetched. So our goal is to help the schools understand what we do, obviously do an information exchange as to our knowledge of the plant might be a little deeper. Mm-hmm. And then with other types of, the senior centers, seniors are the largest customer base we have.
You know what, you brought up a good point, and I know I said I was going to ask any more questions, but this might help the other people that are going to present, so they're going to be able to answer some of these questions in their presentation. We have a drug epidemic in our country, right? Mostly has to do with opioids, and, in Hamilton Township, we have a couple different recovery groups that are in Hamilton, and how do you interact with them? That's a tough one, you know what I mean? Because, you have different recovery groups, and now we're going to introduce cultivation and manufacturing in our town. So how do we, as representatives of the administration, deal with the different groups like that? Trying to convince them that, hey, this is the right thing to do.
I'm 100% confident that the other business leaders that are here tonight are as willing as we are to assist and to start with a dialogue and figure it out together. There just isn't a blueprint. Every community is different.
Any questions?
Yeah, and Chuck Latini is a consultant with the group, and he's involved in community outreach.
Yeah. So good evening, everyone. Thank you. As you said, I'm Chuck Latini. Grew up in Ewing Township, just around the way, and I've had some experience in the cannabis space for a while. And ZY brought me on, particularly on looking for good community partners. And one of the things we've been talking about, in addition to what Scott said, was forming a community advisory group made of Hamilton Township residents that were going to specifically address these types of issues, where, if you had drug and alcohol prevention awareness, dealing with the schools, whether it was workforce development programs, dealing with the, job training, things like that, all those different philanthropic things that ZY has done in other places in addition to that. So while we have some ideas pre-baked, I think most importantly, we're open to working with you all on what our program really looks like and what's most important to Hamiltonians.
It looks like we have a little. Let's pause for a moment. Okay. Right, any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have would anyone like to make a motion on Resolution 121-448?
Okay. I'll make a motion on Resolution 21-448.
Thank you, Councilman.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Resolution passes 4-0. Resolution 2 is Resolution 21-449, was a resolution of Hamilton Township, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, supporting Theory Wellness of New Jersey Manufacturing, Inc.'s application to the Cannabis Regulatory Commission for a Class 1 cannabis cultivator or a Class 2 cannabis manufacturing license.
First time.
No, I know. Say it. Good
Good evening. How are you?
No.
My name is Bo Huck. I'm from Porzio Governmental Affairs.
I'm sorry, can you repeat your name, please?
My name is Bo Huck
Bo
from
Huck.
Porzio Governmental Affairs. We represent Theory Wellness. And unfortunately, their CEO, Brandon Pollock, couldn't be here tonight. He's not feeling too well, and considering what was on the agenda, we did not want to possibly expose anyone in the room to what was going on. So thank you very much for your understanding on that. On a personal note, for somebody that's worked in government for a while, you guys are very organized, and we very much appreciate it. So thank you for the good questions, and also thank you for being so on top of everything that you've been involved with so far. First off, do you have any questions for me? I can tell you guys a little bit about the company as far as just go through the basics as to who they are, if that helps.
Maybe some background and
Okay.
experience would be great.
So, Theory Wellness, they began in Massachusetts in the medical marijuana marketplace in 2015. Right now, they have a 99th percentile rating for customer satisfaction. They operate 5 facilities in Massachusetts, 1 more in development, 4 in Maine with 1 more in development. They currently have just about under 400 employees total with full benefits and 401ks. Their current canopy for management is about 100,000 plus square feet across their current facilities. They developed a first of its kind social equity program that led to the opening of the first minority and woman-owned dispensary in Massachusetts. They developed their hiring plans with the NAACP there. Now, as far as the facility that they have envisioned here for Hamilton, their anticipated hires for the location at 121 First Avenue in Hamilton is 50 for the cultivation side of things and 25 for the manufacturing side of the facility. It will be a co-located facility at that location. They will be retrofitting the building. They will be using we've already signed a project labor agreement with IBEW. The facility is 50,000 square foot with 40,000 dedicated to cultivation and 10,000 will be dedicated towards manufacturing. We anticipate a production of about 3,500 pounds per month, and we will begin on the manufacturing side of things with a focus on the extraction of essential oils. We will be non-volatile, the type of manufacturing that does not go boom. Important question. And we anticipate in time, as the CRC promulgates other rules and regulations per edibles and extraction, that we will expand. Any questions for me?
Where are you going to be retailing your product?
Currently, we do not possess a retail license in New Jersey. We were part of the 2019 medical marijuana application dispensary on the outskirts of Trenton. Those awards have yet to be awarded.
So you're going to manufacture it, how are you going to sell it?
It's a several tiered marketplace that the CRC established here in New Jersey. So we would have to go through a wholesaler who would in turn give to a dispensary.
Do you have those arrangements in place or?
In the process of, yes.
Okay.
Right now, we have to create the wholesalers. They don't exist yet.
Right, everything's
in flux. Actually, as we
happening
speak
now.
Right now, there's a CRC meeting happening tonight.
Oh.
Yeah. So when I say things are in flux, some of the questions that you're asking tonight will be better answered tomorrow.
Got you.
Bo, you'll lease the building?
I believe, yes, they're leasing the building for the retrofit.
Okay. And how many employees do you think?
50 on the cultivation side and 25 on the manufacturing side to begin with.
You said that, okay.
All with 401k benefits and health benefits.
That's great.
Councilor Whalen? Any questions?
Not right now, no.
Thank you, sir.
You got them all out on the other side? Okay. No, thank you for the background. That's really good. You just, and I'm really glad to hear that you already have made an arrangement with the IBEW and are going to be using local labor. The fact that you're retrofitting an existing building, again, fantastic. That's another great sign. We don't want to have to develop new, in a new section. So, I don't, unless anyone has any other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Move resolution 2.
I'll second it.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Thank you so
4-0.
much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Resolution 3 is Resolution 21-450, a resolution of Hamilton Township, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, supporting Sun Extractions, Inc.'s application to the Cannabis Regulatory Commission for a Class II cannabis manufacturing license.
Do we have someone from Sun Extractions here who would like to present? Okay. Seeing no one, so we'll accept the motion?
Council President, I move resolution 21-450.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Resolution 4 is 21-451, a resolution of Hamilton Township, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, supporting Blaze Products LLC's application to the Cannabis Regulatory Commission for a Class I cannabis cultivator and/or a Class II manufacturer license.
Okay, again, is there anyone here from Blaze Products LLC who would like to present on the application? Thank you. Come on up.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Trish Zita. That's Z-I-T-A.
Thank you.
With Kaufman Zita Group. I'm a public affairs consultant and a cannabis consultant. I also grew up at 21 June Avenue here in Hamilton. So it's nice to be back. With me is Mr. Norris Bell of Blaze Products. We will be applying for a micro cultivation and manufacturing license. It's a little different than the others because they're limited to 2,500 square feet and 10 employees. The location will be at 300 Horizon Center Drive. And we plan on hiring locally, and we have reached out actually to the local assemblyman here for recommendations on some from the IBEW folks that are local here to help us with the work at the facility. My background, I have helped and am part of the cultivation and manufacturing and retailing company called TerraSend, which is one of the original 12 license holders here in New Jersey. So we have lots of experience actually with cannabis in the state of New Jersey, which is not very common, but we've been operating at that facility for several years now. And so we hope to bring that expertise to Blaze Products.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
What's the difference with a micro? I mean, naturally, it's smaller in size, obviously, 2,500, say 2,500 square feet?
Correct, yes. It's actually,
That's real small.
It is statutorily. It's, so the legislature, their intent was to help some applicants that might be not able to have a full-size, 100,000 square foot facility. Social equity applicants wanted, the legislature wanted to give them an opportunity to get into this marketplace. And so it is capped at 2,500 square feet for both the manufacturing or the cultivation, and they're limited to 10 employees in size. But other than that, they can cultivate and manufacture the same as any other.
Now, the size of, like, for instance, it's 2,500 for cultivation.
Correct.
Now, if manufacturing was approved, how much additional space would they use? 500, 1,000?
No, that would be a separate 2,500 square
So it'd be
feet.
another, they could put another addition on for
We can
2,500?
co-locate in one building,
Mhm.
but each license is separate for 2,500, no more than 2,500 square feet.
Okay. And it's your intention to cultivate and manufacture?
Correct.
And so you'll be capped out at 10 employees for each
Correct. 10 and
license?
10.
Okay.
I got a question. I've seen them. You've probably seen more of them than me, but since you're in the business, but like a micro place, would they be able to use, like, I seen like these pods that come in, right? Like a trailer. So would that be something like a micro would be, like a pre-assembled pod, right? That's already a pre-manufactured pod, so to speak. It's almost like a Connex box.
Right. Yeah, we could. That could be an option. That's not the intention right now. Given the size, it probably will make sense to build out as quickly as possible. But you're spot on. For example, in our cultivation facility up in Morris County, that's how everything got started. The seeds, the mothers, the plants were in a pod that you're talking about.
Yeah,
And they're mobile.
I see in Ewing, they're building one on Prospect, and they brought in these pods.
Yeah.
I guess, like you said, they got to grow the mother first.
Yeah, no, it's a great enclosed
Right.
biosphere that is portable too.
Now, the security at a smaller facility naturally is the same regulations on matter you have to follow to a facility. It's 100,000 square. And I didn't really get that. I should have asked this, and I know they talked about security, and I've seen security at other facilities. Depending on where you're at, is the security different, say if you're in the inner city portion, like, like in some of these applications, right, or over in the Bromley area? Would the security be different in the Bromley area than it would be out on Horizon Drive?
No, but the CRC does have discretion. My experience with them has been, both with the Department of Health, really more so, is that they really ask you to ramp up, because it's always ramp up on security, more cameras. We've had, full-time guards. We've had to put electronic geofencing around the property, which, quite frankly, the deer trigger more than anything else. But yes, they can. It is a standard. Everyone's required to abide by the regulations that they provide, but they can ask.
Can a town ask for more?
Yes.
Okay.
We've had towns with, especially lighting. Some towns are very sensitive to wanting more lighting. Some towns want less lighting. Runs the gamut, and it depends if it's a retail facility or if it's a cultivation, or different requirements for each.
Okay, thank you.
Trish, Madam President, just a quick question. And I know we went on the tour of the Phillipsburg facility. Thank you for that. That was very educational. But and this may have been asked then, I guess the CRC, do they do like a spot check or on your facility, and how frequently does that occur? And this goes for all the applications that are before us this evening, but for a micro or for a cultivator or manufacturer.
Yeah, so again, I can speak to the experience of the medical marijuana program in New Jersey here, but we have an assigned inspector to each license, and those inspectors will show up randomly, and they will also show up on a scheduled, both for the cultivation, for the retail, for the manufacturing, for the lab. And the other thing I forgot to mention is also cameras that are in the facility are viewed by the CRC. So for us, it was the Department of Health, but they have 24/7 access to the cameras within the facility all the time. So they have direct view, and they do monitor them.
Okay, that answers it, yeah.
They have cameras in your facility 24/7?
So the cameras that are in our facility, they are accessible by the DOH, and they can view them. Actually, sometimes they'll call and be like, hey, move that thing that's in front of cameras before, because it's blocking a clear view of the hallway.
Is is that going to be true of these recreational?
No, I have to be honest with you. I don't know that the volume of licenses that they're looking to issue now, whether the CRC is, ramping up personnel-wise to hire enough inspectors and
Inspectors,
folks
yeah.
to that nature. So I don't know the answer to that, but I would assume that they're going to try to keep the same standards that they have.
I wonder if they were holding you to a pharmaceutical standard with the medical marijuana, but perhaps with recreational, it wouldn't be quite such a stringent standard.
I mean, for the medical, we were GMP certified and we were organic and there's no pesticides and, it's all organic nutrients. For this facility I can speak to, we'll use the same, that's what we know, so that's what will be done. But I'm not sure how they will manage adult use. I think someone said it earlier, a lot of this is being determined.
Fluid process.
Regulations are being promulgated as we speak.
Changes, literally.
I just had a question, just out of curiosity, since you are the first micro to present to us. So you're at the limit, of the 2,500 square foot. How does one go, from a micro, and then, business is going great and you want to expand, does it have to hit another threshold before, how does that happen in between? I'm just
So
curious.
you are able to apply to convert the license after a period of time to the CRC to a full license, which wouldn't have the 2,500 square foot cap any longer.
But I guess this is a question for you, Alyssa. If our licenses in Hamilton Township have already been issued to other people.
So the way that I've rewritten the ordinances that are up today and for first reading, the revisions, is that,
Alyssa.
I'm sorry. So the way that we've rewritten the ordinances now that we had the CRC regulations, which we didn't have when we first had to put the ordinance in place, is that we are increasing class 1, class 2, class 3, I forget how many, but up from 2 to 6, inclusive of micro businesses. So they have presuming, number one, they are approved here, and then number 2, they're approved by the CRC for a micro business, and number 3, they're approved for a permit when they come back to the township, and everything goes well, then they still have a slot under our ordinances. And then that could be increased, and then the fees would increase under our ordinance because of the fees as assessed are less for micro businesses, which is part and parcel of the social equity and micro business theories behind the CRC and how they did the statute. And so yes, it is possible, and it would be supported.
How much discretion would we have?
We are promulgating those applications for the permit. That's our next step. So just like we have for ABC, we still can look at everything, look at the application, look at, whether we believe them. So yes, we do have some discretion. Just like we have discretion with the alcoholic beverage control permit. As you know, people have come before us all the time asking for permits, and we have sometimes denied them. Thank you.
Well, this is, one of the cautionary notes for us was that we didn't want the barrier for entry into this industry to be too high to exclude local entrepreneurs and local business owners. So I'm glad to have a micro business being located here in Hamilton with local folks, Iron Mike's or not. And so, that's.
I agree, Councilman.
And I failed to mention that Mr. Norris Bell here is also a business owner in Hamilton. The headquarters 1 and 2 barbershops are his establishments, and a resident of Hamilton as well.
And I know those have been very successful.
Yes, gaining traction. The second location, I was able to fulfill a dream of being able to service the women of our communities. So I was able to put, manicure, pedicure, hairstyling and things of that nature in there. The first shop, I've met a couple of you from my grand opening times. It's still going well. Still able to reach out to a lot of the youth in the community, as well as all the residents in the community. We've been involved in partnership with the Hamilton YMCA and others to provide food every 2 weeks, a food drive, and taking part in that. It's my pleasure. And anything we can do to help the community. It's where I'm from. I'm very passionate about all the members of our community, whether they're older or younger. And I'm just excited with this possible opportunity to bring more to them, because it's an area that needs it. They need some resources for, I heard education mentioned. I tutor unofficially now, just in my barbershop. I welcome the youth all the time. Just come in, you ain't got nowhere to go, you need somebody to talk to, come on in. I'm never too busy to be there for them. So I thank you for considering us, and I'm very excited. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Any questions? Okay. Do I have a motion on Resolution 21-451?
Madam President, I'll make a motion for Resolution 4.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Resolution passes 4-0.
Good luck.
Resolution 5 is Resolution 21-452, authorizing, Resolution of Hamilton Township, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, supporting 58 Thomas J. Rhodes Industrial Drive LLC's application to the Cannabis Regulatory Commission for a Class II cannabis manufacturing license.
Okay. Do we have someone from Thomas J. Rhodes Industrial? I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong thing.
It's a long one.
Yeah.
You're right.
Do we have someone to speak on this application?
No.
No? Okay. Okay, seeing no one to speak, any questions or comments from council? Okay, I'll entertain a motion on Resolution 5.
I'll move Resolution 5, 21-452.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Madam President, moving on to consent agenda items, we have items CA1 through CA30 for your consideration.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I just have a few notes here just to add some clarification on consent agenda 10. We'll be adding 3 new vendors. That one is in software vendors for the calendar year. We have the WPC with the new jetback truck, much needed. And we also have the award for the authorizing a 2-year contract with the Wilson organization for the Wilson Center in Hamilton, who have been doing a lot of hard work throughout this pandemic. And I don't think there's really anything else significant.
Wasn't there one for the Neopara rubber?
There's a remediation grant.
Which number was that?
That's CA 23.
23.
Oh,
Yes.
so that's somehow picked off of mine.
Okay.
So, Madam President,
Yes, go ahead.
can I ask one question on CA 30? I guess the program was doing fairly well, and we needed to replenish some funds for that program. Are we using grant funds, ARP? I mean, are we able to use the recovery dollars?
Yes, the first round we did, but because the program was so successful, this is for the outside dining for our restaurants. It's the helping to provide the heat for that. So yes, this is just increasing it and doing it again this season.
And this funding's coming through the like either the CARES grant or the AF?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Just a point on CA 23, it has nothing to do with this grant, but I just, in case the rest of council didn't know, and even the public for that matter. I see there's still some people here left in the public. But, recently over on East State Street, if you've gone by where the Neoterra rubber site is, the township was able to do a direct hire, where that was one of the things that we talked about early on is directly hiring local construction workers from the local building trades to perform work on small projects, such as what they did over at Neoterra Rubber. They hired directly laborers from the Union Hall, and they brought them out there, and really not seeing it, riding by the old Neoterra and looking at it, you could actually see through it now and get an idea of what the property looks like. And I think they spent a total of 5 days out there. And they were able to pay them through a grant. Am I correct, Kathy? There was some grant money that they were able to pay them through, but just the job they did a wonderful job, doing a tremendous job cleaning that area up. And from what I understand, I think once some of the area businesses saw the potential there, I guess there's some inquiries now to possibly purchasing that area of need for redevelopment. So just a good point of interest of something good that came out, and it gave some people an opportunity to go to work here locally. So,
Thank you. Okay, any other questions or comments on the consent agenda from council? Okay, we'll give Councilman Ty a moment. All right.
we voted? Not yet.
No, I was waiting. See if you had any questions or comments on the consent agenda?
No.
Okay, all right. Yes, I will, Madam Clerk, I'll be abstaining from consent agenda 15.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Do I have a motion to
Yeah,
move on
that
the
being,
consent
that being
agenda?
said, oh.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Do we have any questions or comments from the public on the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, do we have a motion to move on the consent agenda items?
Yes,
CA1
Council
through
President.
C30?
Yes, Council President, I move on CA1 through CA30.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes, with the abstention on 15.
So noted. Moving on to ordinances. These are ordinances that are on for second reading and public hearing. Ordinance 1 is 21-063, an ordinance amending and supplementing the Code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 485, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Parking, subsection 48519, Handicap Parking. This is establishing spaces for 133 Jeremiah Avenue and 44 Rigger Avenue. Again, this is second reading and public hearing.
Okay. Do we have any questions or comments from council?
None.
Any public comment on ordinance 1? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to move on ordinance 1?
Madam President, I'll make a motion to approve on second reading ordinance number 21-063.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Ordinance 2 is 21-064, an ordinance accepting a grant of conservation easement from Synergy LLC for block known as 1581, part of Block 27. Second reading and public hearing.
Okay, any questions or comments from council?
I have a quick question. Maybe this is for Kathy. Kathy, is this, or Alyssa, is this just the small easement there that we're talking about? Not the overall property, right? Because I looked at it on a map, and I think it almost seemed like it had almost the same block. It did have the same block and lot for the easement and for the larger property. When I looked it up, and maybe I was incorrect with something but
Yeah, that is correct.
it's just a small easement. Okay.
This easement is what, by the road?
It's basically in the middle of the overall
Imagine
lot.
it's probably off the Sweetwater so they can access for construction vehicles.
Yeah.
Imagine that's what the easement's for, correct?
Yeah, it's for equipment and improvements, and it was also related to the zoning board of adjustment approval. So we're relying on what their findings were in the approval process, and so we're just now accepting it based on what their findings were at the zoning board.
Okay.
Anything further? Okay. If anyone in the public would like to comment or have questions on 21-065? Oh, I'm sorry, 064.
Here it comes.
Yes, come on up.
I love it. They hate short people. Okay, Janice Connick, 432 Trinity Avenue, Cornell Heights. Now, this is with the solar panel thing, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And what does the easement mean? I mean, that's not going to increase, like, we're worried about flooding and stuff like that stuff, but that's, what exactly does that mean?
Am I right to assume?
Yeah, I'm
that
trying to pull it up here.
It's a construction easement.
So for number 4, it's the purpose of this easement to assure that the portions of the property depicted on Exhibit A and further described in Exhibit B and Exhibit C, which are all the maps of the various properties, will be preserved and maintained and to prevent any disturbance or development not contemplated by the approvals. So whatever the approvals were, these lands and this easement say you can't do anything more.
Oh, okay. All righty. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing no further comment, I'll entertain a motion on ordinance 2. Trying to, there we go.
Council President, I move ordinance 2, sorry, hold on a minute. Ordinance 2, 21-064 on second reading.
Thank you, Councilman.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Ordinance 3 is 21065, an ordinance amending and supplementing the Code of Ordinances, Hamilton Township, New Jersey, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 215 Fees, Section 215-6, Department of Health, Recreation, Senior, and Veteran Services. This is second reading and public hearing.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Just to clarify this, this is actually just mostly, and Alyssa, you can correct me if I'm wrong, we just had some additional services that fall under this category that we had to add into the ordinance and add appropriate fees for those permits and licenses.
Yes, the massage and somatic. I don't know.
So we were required to add that?
We weren't required, but we felt it was for the best interest of the township, because then they come for us for a license, for a permit.
It'll better provide us with the ability to regulate this industry.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Okay, comments from the public on ordinance 3? Okay. Seeing no further public comment or from council, I'll entertain a motion on ordinance 321-065.
Yes, Council President, move to close the public portion and move on second reading of 21-065.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. The following ordinances are first reading and introduction. Ordinance 1 is 21-066. An ordinance fixing the salaries and other compensation of the officials and employees of the Township of Hamilton and the County of Mercer and State of New Jersey to go into effect retroactively to January 1, 2021. This is first reading and introduction.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, Madam President, to move on first reading ordinance number 21-066.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Ordinance 2 is 21-067, an ordinance amending and supplementing the Code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 153, Cannabis and Medical Cannabis, first reading and introduction.
Okay, do you want to say anything more about this at this time, or wait till next meeting?
We'll
No.
wait till next meeting.
Okay, all right, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam President, I move ordinance 21-067 on first reading.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Ordinance 3 is 21-068, an ordinance amending and supplementing the Code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 449, Taxation, Article 2, Cannabis Taxation.
Okay. We have a motion on first reading of ordinance 3.
Yes, Council President, I move first reading and introduction on ordinance number 21-068.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Ordinance 4 is 21-069, an ordinance amending and supplementing the Code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Part 3, Land Use Legislation, Chapter 550, Land Development, Article 3, District Regulations, and Article 4, General Regulations.
Madam President, I'll move on first reading, ordinance number 21-069.
I'll second that.
Okay.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Before you is a Resolution 1, number 21-447, which is resolution referring proposed amendments to the Code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Part 3, Land Use Legislation, Chapter 550, Land Development, Article 3, District Regulations, and Article 4, General Regulations and Design Standards to the Hamilton Township Planning Board for review pursuant to NJSA 40:55D-26.
Kathy, or Alyssa, talk about this resolution?
Yes, so anytime you do a ordinance amending the land use, it needs to go to the planning board for their review and approval, and then it gets sent back to us, just to make sure that it's in sync with the master plan, according to statute.
Okay.
So is this a specific area?
I'm sorry?
Is this a
Yeah, that's what I was
specific
first,
area?
anything specific?
Specific, yeah, I added all, it changed everything, because I added retail to where retail was allowed in which zones.
Oh, so- But just to be specific, so this is in connection to the cannabis legislation?
Yes, correct.
The main addition is that we're going to be banning outdoor cultivation of cannabis.
That's one change, correct. It's because it wasn't clear until the regulations came out that we had to formally ban it rather than, or formally allow it. And then also it's adding retail to certain zones,
Right.
where the zones, where retail will be allowed.
Okay. Any questions from council?
No.
Council President, I just wanted to make a note for the record with regard to when I read Ordinance 421-069. It just indicates on the agenda, general regulations. I should have also included and design standards, so it is exactly as the resolution.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay. All right. We open up to public comment resolution, right?
It's a resolution.
We just
Yeah.
need a motion on the resolution, please.
No public comment?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
on
so
board
we'll
with this.
open up to public comment if anybody has comment or question on Resolution 21-447. Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam President, I move to close the public comment portion and move Resolution 21-447.
I'll second
you.
that.
On the motion, Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Mrs. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. That concludes the agenda, Madam President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Do we have anybody signed up to speak?
We're not signed up.
Okay. Is there anyone on the list yet? Okay. Okay, so we would just ask that when you come to the podium, state your name and address, right?
Mm-hmm.
Clearly and speak clearly into the microphone so we can hear you. Thank you.
Alex York, 37 Tilia Court.
Thank you.
I'm Johanna Jezik, 77 Grayson Avenue.
Thank you.
Owen Jezik, 77 Grayson Avenue.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, may I have the last gentleman's name, please?
It's Owen Jezik.
Jascik? Close?
Jezek.
Okay.
And sorry, just before you speak, I forgot to mention, so we will have, speakers have 4 minutes the first time they come up, and then we can offer that to others, and then you can come back up for 2 more minutes.
Okay, thank you. So first of all, good evening, council. Thank you for having us and hearing us. We would like to propose putting up lights at the skateboard park in Veterans Park. So I wrote a letter to the mayor regarding this roughly 10 months ago, I would say. So I figured I could share the contents of the letter with you all, and then if need be, we can expand upon any points or answer any questions that you guys may have. So with that said, the letter reads as follows. Mayor Martin, greetings. My name is Alex. I am a current Hamilton Township taxpayer and, more importantly, a proud, lifelong Hamilton resident. I would like to start this letter by expressing my immense gratitude for the exceptional job you've done thus far in your term as mayor, specifically in regard to making sure the ideas of Hamilton residents are heard and their needs are met. Thank you. In addition to living in Hamilton my entire life, I have been an avid skateboarder for the better part of 2 decades. My mother had a skateboard shop called Extreme Function here in Hamilton from 2001 to 2007, and she was instrumental in collaborating with Glenn Gilmore during his tenure as mayor to facilitate the construction of the original skateboard park in Veterans Park, which was eventually torn down. It is difficult to express my elation upon realizing Hamilton was going to redo the then defunct skateboard park some 3 years ago. Since its rebirth, I've spent countless hours there honing my skills, most days only stopping because I am no longer able to see due to nightfall. This inability to use the skateboard park after dusk is why I'm reaching out to you with this letter. I would like to propose the installation of lights at the skateboard park in Veterans Park. Skateboarding's popularity has increased exponentially over the past decade, as evidenced, for example, by its first ever inclusion in the upcoming Summer Olympic Games in Tokyo. People of all ages, races, genders, and walks of life are reaping the myriad benefits skateboarding grants its participants. With that said, having a place to skateboard after dusk in Hamilton is becoming increasingly important. Aside from the enjoyment that would be derived by countless skateboarders from this proposed upgrade, I believe having lights at the skateboard park would be exceedingly beneficial for the township as well. Not only would it further solidify the skateboard park as being the best in Mercer County, it would also magnify the positive influence it already has on Hamilton residents and non-residents alike. Please let me know what steps I can take as a township resident in order to further the progress of this worthwhile endeavor. Thank you for taking the time to read this letter, Mayor Martin, and again, thank you for your service. And that's the end of the letter.
Did you get a response to the letter?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I have other comments and questions, but before I say that, could you also just send that same letter email to each of us? If you go to the council section of the website, all of our emails are there.
Yes, okay, yep. I
yeah.
previously sent one to us, Councilman Whalen, but I will forward it to the appropriate individuals on the council.
Great. Well, I just, thank you for coming, and it's I'm very aware of my own daughter is 16, and we were having a lesson, and it's exactly what happened with the lights. It goes dark very early now.
Yeah.
That park is tremendous. It's amazing. It's packed with kids of all ages. It's
Always.
a great community, always. So I hear you, because I also brought this up to the Parks Department to see if this was something. So I would like to, we'll find out more information. I know one of the conflicts that they have is the park technically closes at dusk. So you're kind of, to put lights in, of course, would then be implying like, park's still open or, so there's things we would have to work out. But just so it is something I've already, been talking to them about, and we could see. I even said, I think we need a second one because that one's packed always.
That's music to my ears.
Yeah.
Is it, I mean, I skateboarded once, Trenton Speedway, and that's gone, so. It's been a long time, but is it more seasonal, like, we hear, hey, the park closes at dusk. Well, naturally, it's 4:00 and it's dark out, hence lights. Do you skateboard in the winter?
To
Probably.
that,
Yeah. Would you like to
I
speak?
just want to say, I believe, what was it, like 60 degrees yesterday?
Yeah, it's true.
So, yes.
Yes, please do.
If you go to the skate park the day after it snows, on any day, you will see skateboarders who are dedicated to their craft, shoveling. You don't see people shoveling the tennis courts or the baseball fields or anything else. The skateboarders are out all year round, and they are dying to skateboard. When the sun goes down in the summertime, the skateboard park is packed with kids. The lights are on at the tennis court. The lights are on at the baseball field. There's not really anybody there. The skateboard park is packed, and everybody just has to go
Wait,
home.
are you telling me that the
That's-
lights,
yeah.
you telling me the lights are on the baseball field, nobody's playing? I got a problem with that.
I'm sorry, so we have lights that come on for the other, even though the park closes at dusk, there's lights so that people can continue to play tennis and other recreational activities.
Especially, all I know is for the tennis, there's lights because we contract with other organizations to run their tennis programs there. But again, I'm not sure how that measures with our, closes at dusk policy, so.
I have to think that if we have a lit facility, or if we were going to add lights to the skate park, well, first of all, I don't think there's anything creating an exception for the tennis courts, so technically, we're in violation of our own ordinance, so we need to clean that up anyway. And if we're going to do it for the tennis courts, then, we could include the skate park in an ordinance to potentially create an exception that while the lights are on, that a facility could be in use until the lights go out. Of course, funding the installation of lights is a separate matter. That would be a part of our budget process. But we would need to make it legal for folks to be there after dark. And if we're allowing the tennis and it's not explicitly permitted, then we would need to fix that. And as long as we're going to fix that problem, which has really come to our attention, thank you, as a result of this discussion, then perhaps we can take care of two problems at once, especially if our skate park is in greater demand than our tennis courts. I know our pickleball courts are in great demand these days, but I'm not sure about our tennis courts, so.
Okay, so I think we should, would you like
Good
to speak,
point.
sir?
I don't think so.
That's okay.
I would just like to say, I met Owen through going to the newly redesigned Veterans Park, and just from the brief time that I've known him, I've seen his confidence grow and his social skills improving, through this activity that we love doing. And I think, that wouldn't have been possible without us meeting at the skateboard park, because that's where we met. So just wanted to make note of that on behalf of this fine young man here, Owen. So.
Yes, yeah.
That's good.
No, thank you very much, because I really, I observed it, and I think I probably was everyone. I said, oh my gosh, like this, it's packed and so inclusive, every age, like you said. And so I definitely, we'll definitely look into this. Thank you for bringing it to our attention, and please reach out so we can continue to talk about this.
Okay, yeah, I will, and thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Al.
Thanks. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming. Okay. Janice?
Janice Klein, 432 Trinity Avenue, Cornell Heights. Okay, I have a question. It was a notice about what's going to go on in the zoning board, but you guys usually know everything anyway, and the zoning board, you can't ask questions like here, you can find out everything you want to know. They were talking about the quick check by me on the train station, and they said it's on 2 lots, but they're going to be asking that it's on 1 lot, but they wanted to divide it into 2 lots so that the quick check's on 1, and then the other lot is open, and they said that was previously approved for construction of a 13,251-foot strip center building. So are they going to be putting another building next to the quick check? Is that why they wanted to put the quick check on the 1 lot and divide it into 2 lots? Or is it for tax purposes, since the building's on 2 lots, it costs more than 1 lot? Or are they trying to put in a strip building with the quick check? That sounded a little odd.
Kathy?
I'm not aware of this one, so we'll have to, talk to Mr. Dumont and see what he knows about this application, because I just don't have those details in my mind at this point.
Yeah, okay, but I mean, it was, it's, for a strip center building, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
that would be 2 buildings there at the train station, people coming in and out of, and they did make the left-hand turn going in. Of course, they did put a separate lane for that, which is good. Except if it really gets backed up, then it'll go into the fast lane. And it's supposedly all one right-hand turn, which hopefully they will follow directions.
I saw that too.
Okay, but, so that's that. And is this the last meeting for December?
No, we
No,
do have
one
another
more.
meeting on December 21st.
Oh, okay, because, it had been mentioned that maybe it would only be 1. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
All right.
Meeting. And when all the meetings moving forward will be here.
All the meetings, right?
Moving forward, until further notice, we'll be meeting here at the senior center, so you have to keep checking that.
Okay, because this works nicely, I think. It spreads out better, yes. Okay, well then I will wish you a Merry Christmas next meeting. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, any other public comments? There's nobody left? Okay. All right, seeing no further public comment, we'll turn to council comments. Do you want to start at the end, Mr. Councilman Carabelli?
That's fine. I just want to, thank those members that were here today from the football team that did a phenomenal job. One of the coaches, I actually coach baseball with, just a great group of kids. I know some of the players as well. Want to also, what was the other comment I wanted to make? Just remembering that today is Pearl Harbor. I mentioned in my invocation remarks, my invocations this evening, 80 years ago. If you can believe it, if you ever get a chance to go out to Hawaii, you have to stop there. It's amazing. I was able to go on my honeymoon and just the ultimate sacrifice that these roughly 2,400 individuals of our U.S. servicemen and women that put their life on the line on that day today, 80 years ago. It was incredible. Just as it pertains to cannabis, what we have before us, and I said this to a few folks, I wasn't gung-ho about the idea of cannabis several years ago. I think Director Dumont had mentioned this, but I've come to, feel more comfortable with the process, being able to visit a facility, having the ability, Trisita invited me to her facility, and just seeing how regulated it actually is, gave me greater comfort. The security, the CRC, which she had mentioned, gave me greater comfort in supporting, and the job and the tax, the revenue that you can obviously reap from it. It gave me greater comfort in the overall cannabis initiative, whether it's a manufacturing facility all the way to a retail facility or a cultivation plant. So, no, that's all I just wanted to mention on that. So we'll see how this process takes place. Hopefully these are jobs for Hamilton residents, and hopefully that we can, hire local and through the construction and through the permitting process and when these buildings are fully occupied. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Tai?
Sure. So we had our tree lighting ceremony. Big success, huge turnout. It's always great to see the community come together for those events, and nice to be able to come together. Just a note for anybody who travels on Cruiser Road, tomorrow and Thursday, Trenton Waterworks is going to be doing some repair work along Cruiser Road by the nursery there, Dragonfly Farms, by Dragonfly Farms. So anybody who lives near there or who travels through there or uses water in that area may be impacted. But otherwise, I just want to wish everyone a happy holiday, and I look forward to seeing everyone at the next meeting.
Thank you. Councilman Whalen?
I guess I'd close with, since Janice is here from Cornell Heights, today was a big day in Cornell Heights. If anybody hadn't noticed yet, for many, many years, and understandably, I'd probably be one of them too, complaining about the truck traffic that would travel through that neighborhood and the constant problems and, but it seemed like it didn't fall on deaf ears, but it also knew that there was a process involved that would take some time. You had to deal with Department of Transportation, you had to deal with the county freeholders, you had to get different people involved, and today was nice to finally see it come to fruition. And, Assemblyman Benson was there, and he was a big part of trying to get this accomplished. So today they had the unveiling of the signs over there on Sweetbriar and the adjoining streets for no truck traffic. So I hopefully that's going to make the residents over there happy. Of course, enforcement is just as important. I mean, the signs hopefully deter them, but for those who are going to try and break the law, then hopefully we're there to make sure that they get cited or summoned or whatever, and the message will get out, right? And eventually people will stop, breaking the law and traveling through there. So I'm glad to see that's done. And with that, hope everybody has a good night.
Thank you, Councilman. I'll keep my remarks short as well. First, I want to thank you for your patience tonight as I sat in this chair for the first time tonight. Thank you, Janice. I said, as long as Janice is here. I really. And I also just want to add to what Councilman Tai said. I just want to compliment and thank all the township workers who put Winter Wonderland together. The mansion looked gorgeous. To see that many, it was packed. It was really packed Friday and Saturday night. And just have some of those traditions back, including getting your reindeer food, having the tree lighting, the caroling. I know people are still visiting. You can go and drive through from now until Christmas as well, or walk through as well. So it's still open, just doesn't have the vendors. And going back to the Cannabis, I'm really happy to see this opportunity for our local entrepreneur who's already opened 2 businesses in the last few years to have an opportunity in this industry and to make that open and available, to make it accessible to all levels of economic. So with that, I hope everybody has a good night, and thank you, and we'll see you on the 21st, and meeting adjourned. It was. I told my